Look at this beautiful plate of shiny, cracked, and fudgy looking brownies. Let me tell you that these brownies are actually entirely vegan. That's correct, they have 0 animal products in them whatsoever. With any vegan baking, you have to make up for what would traditionally be used for eggs or dairy. And so the first step to making these brownies, which usually rely on both eggs and dairy, is to make an egg substitute. So for my egg substitute, I'm gonna be using ground flaxseed or flaxseed meal, which you can find usually in the health food section of your store, with some coffee. Flaxseed, when it's ground, is really unique because when it's combined with a liquid, it creates a sort of sticky gel that helps to hold everything together. And so that's how it's going to be functioning in this brownie recipe. And the reason I'm combining it with coffee instead of water is because whenever coffee is introduced to chocolate, it kind of just amplifies the chocolate flavor and makes the chocolatiness of the brownie all the more present. So I'm making what I would call my flaxseed eggs in this container, just with 2/3 cup of strongly brewed coffee and 1/4 cup of flaxseed meal. In 5 minutes, this mixture is going to be pretty transformed. It'll be very gel-like. But it's also going to contribute to the brownie's chewiness. So in addition to holding it together, it's gonna make this brownie more of like a fudge brownie than a cake brownie. So I'm setting it aside, and my next step is to melt some of my chocolate. So melting chocolate with oil in a brownie recipe is like creating a ganache that is going to help make a really chocolatey, velvety batter. And since I'm not using butter, I'm gonna be using melted refined coconut oil. Coconut oil melts pretty quickly. I just melted it on my stovetop. And here I have 2/3 of a cup. I'm gonna combine it with a 1/4 cup of my non-dairy dark chocolate and put it over medium heat, stirring the whole time until it's fully melted. You can also use your microwave, but if you do, I recommend that you chop the chocolate first, just so that it melts quicker and you don't really run the risk of the chocolate seizing up in the microwave. My chocolate is fully melted into my oil, and so now, just like any other brownie recipe, we're gonna combine all of our wet ingredients together. So in a big mixing bowl, I'm gonna combine my chocolate and oil mixture with 1 cup of brown sugar, 1 cup of granulated sugar, 2 full teaspoons of vanilla, and a 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. All right, and now I'm just gonna mix these together. It's been 5 minutes, and you'll notice that your flaxseed meal is a very clumpy, kind of gel, kind of liquid mixture. And we're gonna add this to the sugar mixture and just stir it in so it's fully homogeneous. I'm aware that it's fully cliche to say this, but the smell of coffee and chocolate together is just like, so nice. I'm now gonna fold in some more chocolate. So I've got another 1/2 cup of these non-dairy chocolate chips that I'm gonna roughly chop and mix into my liquid batter. I like to add chocolate pieces like this to brownies because they stay suspended in the batter, and then as the oven heats and as the batter sets, the chocolate kind of slightly melts, and so you get these little, almost like puddles of melted chocolate in your brownies that are really, really velvety and kind of perfect. The only dry ingredients I'm adding to this batter now are flour and cocoa powder. So you're gonna do a cup of flour and a cup of cocoa powder, and we're gonna slowly mix it, because if you mix it quickly at first, it'll kind of go everywhere. And then once it's incorporated, continue to mix it to encourage the flaxseed meal to kind of get everywhere in the brownie batter. And so I think recipes for brownies shouldn't be complicated. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I like this one, because even though it's entirely plant-based, we're not doing a ton of fussy things like beating butter and sugar together and slowly adding eggs and beating that until it's nice and fluffy. Instead, we're just throwing some liquid ingredients together and then adding the dry ingredients in and pouring it in a pan. Here I have a greased and lined 9x13 metal baking pan. I'm gonna evenly spread my batter in this pan and then sprinkle another 1/4 cup of those non-dairy chocolate chips on top and throw it in my 350-degree oven until when I tap the pan, it doesn't really jiggle that much in the middle, which is about 35 to 40 minutes. Time to throw in the oven. My brownies just came out of my oven and they look like normal brownies. The chocolate pieces are very melty and soft, so you don't want to touch any of those. But you can press the surface in the center and feel that it's still soft, but somewhat solid underneath. It's not a liquidy batter anymore. So I'm gonna set my brownies aside on a wire rack to cool completely before I cut into them and give them a try. Now that my brownies are finished, I'm gonna give one a shot. It is like just a really, really solid brownie. It's still so sweet, as a brownie should be, and it's just all around delicious. And I can actually eat these and feel great afterwards. Not all of them, obviously. I also want to note that the melted little puddles of chocolate from the chocolate chips that we pressed into the top are like absolutely perfect. This is just a really good brownie. If you've enjoyed this video, like and subscribe below so you don't miss any in the future. And if you make these brownies, let us know. We'd love to hear in the comments below how it goes for you. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. Bye.